You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
This hour, I'm Ron Comacho, your host, and today's business at hand is the residential home renovation remodeling marketplace, which is extremely competitive all over the United States, but nowhere is it more competitive than perhaps North Metro Atlanta or all of Metro Atlanta. And today we're going to be talking with Rocco Sinisgalli of Oneida Builders to tell us about what it takes to succeed in this marketplace, what the trends are, and what it takes to satisfy the desires of homeowners. Welcome to the Business Hour, Rocco.
Glad to be here.
So I want to start that by mentioning, because you're somewhat in a different league than a lot of home builders, some of whom could have started in any one aspect of renovation, remodeling, and building. They could have been plumbers, electricians, they could have been finance people, real estate people, but you were a master carpenter. And I think that's a point of distinction because it has a lot to do, I think, with the way you look at a structure. You sort of see the bones better than the average home builder. So tell us about how you made that transition and from being a master carpenter and actually even go to anything that you did prior to that, and tell us a little bit about the evolution to Oneida Builders.
Well, I'm very fortunate because since second grade, it's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And they said, what do you want to do when you grow up? I says, well, I want to own and operate a construction company. I don't know why. I think it was because my father didn't do anything. He was Italian. We had two things, Ron. A butter knife, which is the Italian screwdriver, and duct tape. And I couldn't stand not being able to have anything done in the house. That was it.
So you were like I don't know about age 2, but were you a tinkerer?
Second grade.
Second grade, rather.
That's
okay.
It, yeah.
So you could tinker in the second grade.
Yep.
Did you have an erector set or anything that? Lincoln logs?
I just would go around on garbage night and pick up 2x4s and build stuff in the basement. That was it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been my passion ever since. So I'm fortunate.
You are fortunate because we have had guests in the past that had a clear vision at an early age, and I used one example of an attorney who was watching Perry Mason with his mother at age 4, and he said, "Mom, that's what I want to do." And she said, "What? Be on TV?" And she said, "No, I want to do that." She goes, "Be an attorney?" He goes, "Well, that." And he was in a courtroom. And he grew up to be a litigator. Anyway.
So yeah, it evolved basically through high school. I went to a vocational high school back in the 80s where you could take carpentry, masonry, electrical. So I got educated there in high school, and then I furthered to a 2-year college in upstate New York called Delhi, and then basically got out of there and went building homes in upstate New York, Utica, New York, and worked for a custom home builder. It was the most satisfying job I've ever done, and still to this day love to do it.
The field, the career, the profession has got to be truly more satisfying than a lot of the vast majority of jobs where people do not get to be a part of seeing something being built.
Yeah, that is. I did take it for granted when I was younger, but now that I'm older, yes, it is. I go back home and still see the clients I serviced 30 years ago, and of course being in Atlanta and seeing them in Publix, knowing I renovated their house 6 years ago, 10 years ago. Fortunate that now I'm working for my clients' children. It's awesome. So yeah, being able to understand what has to come the next step. Carpenter's the smartest guy in the job. He's got to know what the plumber's doing. He's got to lay out the foundation, where the HVAC is going. So basically, you have to have that foresight. And then quality. Managing quality expectations is challenging in this business. Don't overextend yourself. And a lot of contractors will tell you what they want to hear. I'm shopping for clients as well as the clients are shopping for the right contractors. So having the hands-on trade, has it separated me from the rest? I would think so. And I'm one of the best in Atlanta, and there are a lot of good guys in this town. Highly competitive, but on the flip side, Ron, it's not. Because we don't need to service every single person. We're more of a relationship versus hurry up, get in and get out. That's not us.
Well, we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. I want to talk about the relationship with your customers, and I can tell from a previous discussion with you that you're really into satisfying the desires, both whims and practical needs of your customers.
Sure.
But I want to go back to when you started off building. What kind of homes were you building, and what's one of the primary differences between homes up north, which have to endure severe winters, versus homes in the south?
You know what? What you just said was my mentality. I'm from the north. The houses have to be built better because of extreme cold and snow and ice. Coming down here, I realized that actually the homes in the south have more demands than the north because we have extreme heat in the south. We have extreme humidity. We do have cold, we do have wind, and we do have rain.
Right, those few days that we do have cold, it's cold.
Right.
I mean,
So, in the south, your AC is running, and then in the winter, your heat is running. There's only about a 2-month period, maybe, where something's not running in the south. So our homes in the south need to be more energy efficient because of extreme climates than the north. So it was in the pollen, air quality, which understanding efficiency has a lot to do with it. So yes, and then today's technology allows wherever you're building, Ron, to implement technology to make you a better home structurally, aesthetically, and efficiency. New homes, absolutely. But let's not forget, we have over 126 million residential homes right now. We're never going to build as many homes as we already have. So why not improve what we already have? And that's really why remodeling across the country is at a huge demand. Extreme prices in land. Let's fix what we already have aesthetically, functionally, and yes, efficiently.
Let's go down that path for a little bit, because you're an investment counselor of sorts, investment advisor.
Sure.
I'm certain that you must have customers who are in a quandary about, do I spend $50,000, $150,000 or more? Will I recoup my investment? Where should I put my money? Should I put it all in the kitchen? Should I upgrade some bathrooms?
Yep.
How do you begin that process when they don't really have a distinct vision of what they want?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have a silver bullet to the question with an answer, but I can give you some scenarios. And I always, when I ask that question, I always ask, do you have a licensed real estate agent that you know of in the area? Let's consult with them. But what I do say is, first, how many years you plan to be here? I would say the average person can say at least 10 years. So I say, okay, if we invest $100,000 in your kitchen, and in 10 years, I believe your house might be worth $80,000 more. So then it really only costs you $20,000 for 10 years. Is it worth it? I'm giving you the information and let you answer. Now, in Atlanta, in certain areas, if you put 100, you'll get 150. And we judge that facts on what happened in the past in that area. And I always tell clients, as a real estate investor, before we invest the money, let's look at other homes in the area that already have the improvements. And can you move? And 9 times out of 10, I've only had one client in 22 years sell their house and move. But I want to give the facts, build trust, and let them come up with the answer.
It brings to mind, and there have got to be more programs related to home renovation and remodeling than ever before. And that's probably a good thing, and maybe even a bad thing for you. But on one particular program, and actually it's more than one program, the Love It or Leave It scenario.
Yes, great program.
Yeah, well, we're talking about how you have so many people that didn't envision that they would improve the overall value, getting that $75,000 for the $50,000 investment
Sure.
or
Yep.
whatever. And your point about working with the realtor, so you kind of look at comps as well.
Yeah.
You're
Absolutely.
You're not going to want to sink $300,000
Right.
into it and price yourself
out of
that
the
market.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm a real estate investor also. So I'm the guy that flips. I'm the guy that does the tear downs. And knowledge is power. And sometimes personally, I do push the envelope. I do renovate and sell properties where I am the highest priced house in the neighborhood. And you know what's great about real estate, Ron? Is it only takes one buyer to appreciate what you've done. And certain areas of Atlanta, if that buyer likes that house, they're going to buy it. If your client wants to put $300,000 in their basement, they're going to do it because that's what they want to do. And we're here just to give the information. Like I said, we're the crew, and the homeowners are the captain. Where do you want to go with this, and how can I service you? Is really my goal is.
Well, it's got to be that unless you have a customer that is requesting something outrageous, that, to your point, it only takes one buyer. And if it's something, again, that's not outrageous, there's bound to be maybe even more than one or two people who like what you did to that basement.
Absolutely. It's a great market, highly educated. Demand is driven by marketing, advertising, HGTV, love it or list it, all the stuff, House is a website, Pinterest, social media, all of that factors in to the demand of really what we do.
Now, I want to ask you about some of the trends, and you mentioned basements. Are you finding that you're doing basements and kitchens and master bedrooms and bathrooms? Are those four of the most requested upgrades?
Yes. And, the funny thing is, you say basements, and you got listeners all over the country, people think of the South as flat, Atlanta, like Florida. We're not. We have basements. Great thing about Atlanta is they're daylight basements. We have slope lots, so you're not like a Doug basement that you are in New York.
I mean, a lot of slope lots. It's thousands and thousands.
When I moved here in '96, couldn't believe the foundations you have to put in here because of the slope land. So yes, right now, everything that you said we are doing right now. We're doing a basement in Sandy Springs, probably about a mile from here, and beautiful pool in the back. And we put a full kitchen, a changing room, outdoor shower, lighting fixtures that are just exquisite. And they wanted what they wanted, and it's just enjoyable to service that.
There's so many options you can
Sure.
have with a basement. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to be taking a break. We're with Rocco Sinisgalli of Oneida Builders, and we're talking about trends in the marketplace, about smart investing in one of the single biggest investments for
Absolutely.
most people. We'll be back with Rocco to talk more about it in just a minute.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's DOCS, the number 4, patientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
This is Ron Comacho, host of the Business Hour, on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business professionals, business practices, and fascinating individuals to get an insider view of how America works. 10 to 11 a.m. on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to the Business Hour. We're here with Rocco Sinisgalli, who owns Oneida Builders, who is a master carpenter, and that's only important in that he has an insider view of a lot of the work that's being done, and in many cases is hands-on. In a lot of the projects.
Pick up the tools, sure.
Yeah, he's not afraid to pick up the tools. And we've been talking about some of the trends in the marketplace and what goes into making a good investment. Before the break, we were talking about how the contour of the land in Atlanta is such that you have a lot of daylight basements, and consequently, you could at one end have either a garage or a beautiful deck with French doors leading to the outside to a beautiful backyard. And at the other end, as in the case of my house, there's a corner that's built into the hillside. There's perfect as a wine cellar.
Below grade, yeah.
And And so, you have this potential to do a lot of really cool things with basements. You were, before the break, talking about how one opened up to a beautiful landscape scenario. Yeah. Do you get involved on that side too?
We don't do anything with pools or hardscapes. That's a specialty contractor. So I have people I can refer, but no, I don't personally do it.
What about the outdoor kitchens? Have you gotten involved in that area?
We have specialties that we refer because the appliances are specialty, the cabinetry is a specialty. What's great about Atlanta, Ron, is there's so much talent here, and I'm an extension of certain trades that we refer out. And that's really the success is surrounding yourself with high-quality tradesmen, not subcontractors, but they're an extension, and they're tradesmen is what we call them.
We were talking prior to the program, and I made the analogy of you being a lot like a conductor of an orchestra. Well, and you have your own team,
yes,
but you have an army of skilled talent that you have to orchestrate. And that could be plumbers, electricians, guys who do those hardscapes and landscaping, and pool guys, and those outdoor kitchen guys, and just on and on. Do you consider that is an integral part of what you do, and that beyond your own set of personal hands-on skills,
sure,
that whole ability to manage that cast of skilled talent is part of your strength as a builder?
Absolutely. The success is in the relationships with the trades. I've had the same sheetrocker 22 years, same electrician 15 years, plumber 8 years. So that relationship extends to the clients. And once you establish that, then it's a great business model. Your jobs go better because everybody knows what you want. I'm probably the one of the few owners that is on the job site every day. So I've elected to not do a volume of work and hire superintendents, and there's nothing wrong with that, Ron, at all, because there's nothing. It's just, for me, what works for me is I want to be involved with the homeowner on a daily basis, and the tradesmen know what I want, and it's a relationship. So each job, they know what to do. It's called the Oneida way, and if there is a problem, not a problem, let me rephrase it, an opportunity, it has to be handled in a reasonable amount of time. Because let's face it, we're coming to work in your home every day. So if you wake up and you're having a bad day and the plumber leaves a Coke can, you're upset. You need to be able to vent, and I need to handle it within reason. Tradesmen, highly skilled, and let's face it, people think that tradesman is physical. You know how difficult it is to wire a house up to code, to run HVAC, structurally to build on a hillside. Our tradesmen are highly, highly educated, and we have a huge physical demand for our work. And I think in today's society, it's lost. We're not looked at as highly educated. And call the Better Business Bureau. The top 5 complaints for 30 years? Home remodeling.
You know, I had mentioned to you about a friend who was a philosophy major from a
Yes,
really
you
good
did.
school here in the South, who was a fine finished carpenter. Are you finding that there are more tradespeople coming from unrelated backgrounds and who either were exposed early on or exposed later on and are so much happier as a skilled tradesperson than they were at some other unrelated career?
You know, I would like to say I personally know them, but I don't. I've had the same people. But I'll tell you what, I get a lot of conversation is with the homeowners saying, I would like to do something like this. I would like to see, feel, and touch what I've done all day long. You know, it's just what works for our company. But it's physical labor that a lot of people just don't want to get dirty and sweat. And I mean, how hot is it here, right?
Right. Well, yeah, Atlanta can get really, really hot. You mentioned that earlier. We were talking about building homes that have to endure the heat and humidity. One aspect of this show is drilling down into various professions and how it is that people manage to achieve a certain balance in their life to just make it fulfilling. And you have a desire to fulfill the needs and the dreams of some of your clients and make them happy and to produce a certain level of quality, and that makes you feel good. But you're also talking about getting on site, and you might have more than one site at any given time. You could have 3 or 4.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 projects at all on the schedule, yes.
And if you chose to expand, it would just take you further and further away from that role, and you'd be spending time on the computer at your desk. And that's not always as fulfilling as getting to be on site with your team and with the homeowners. And I would imagine for you that's the balance that you've chosen.
Yeah, it is. And I'm fortunate because I have an estimator that runs all the numbers. I have an office admin that manages all the schedules, all the bookkeeping, an on-staff carpenter. So I've surrounded myself with just phenomenal people that work with me that allows me to service just a certain type of clientele and to service them in a way above and beyond the standard of the construction industry. Yes, because you can't go from Cumming, Georgia to Peachtree in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And knowing limitations, you know, and being realistic so you can be on the job site when you need to be. I'm doing a job right around the corner, and they're pouring concrete, and that's where I'll be after this, Ron.
Well, I also want to give a heads up to Kirsten in your office, someone I've dealt with. She's extremely pleasant. Thanks, Kirsten.
Okay.
You helped coordinate Rocco coming onto the program.
Yes.
But let's now go back to kitchens, master bedrooms, and bathrooms.
Yep.
We talked about basements. Are there anything? Is there any space that we should add to that list of the most popular, the major focus for most customers?
Yeah, and you know, understanding the demand and the age of the client, I would say the kitchen can really be the overall ultimate place where you spend the most amount of your time, and per square foot, you'll probably spend the most amount of money. It ranges from demands for cooking, demands for appliances, demands for a space to decompress. Coffee bars where your coffee is just the light of your life, and all your teas, and then you have the bars. Why put a bar in a basement? Let's enjoy it in the kitchen. Media centers. Where am I going to watch my news? How am I going to get my news? Sound systems, speakers, all of that is right in your kitchen.
You have more people spending time in the kitchen to prepare their own meals to make them more healthy at one end of the spectrum, and at the other end of the spectrum, you got entertaining and eating being a focus of entertaining. Right. So we've seen kitchens and spaces opened up to allow anyone doing any preparation in the kitchen to mingle with family or friends in a setting. And actually, you have what I would consider one of the absolutely most unique kitchen designs that incorporates a piano bar.
Yeah.
If you, by the way, we should mention, if you go to www.oneida, ONEIDA builders.net, and you'll find a few different sources of information that you can click on. One of them is a YouTube video with a really great testimonial. But you'll see some pictures if you go to the website, as well as some of those other information sources on the web that include a beautiful grand piano, baby grand piano.
Yeah, baby grand,
in a kitchen, you know, that resonated with me because we have a baby grand piano that I thought, wow. And it's just opposite the kitchen. There's a wall separating it. So tell me about how that concept it
evolved.
It's as good as any kitchen concept to use as an example of collaboration with the customer.
Yes, definitely great demand. You know, the wife wanted a modern look, husband wanted a bar, and traditional bar with alderwood dark. So also the wife was a coffee fanatic, and the Keurig and teas. So we gave her this modern coffee bar. Actually, we put a water dispenser so you never have to move your Keurig to the sink. So water purified to fill up. Pull out a drawer. All the Keurigs were drilled so we can put them in silhouettes. And on the Junior League Tour Homes kitchens, we had a guest open the drawer and started crying because it was so organized. So get back to the demand. I'm a marriage counselor, Ron. You know, I've got husband and wife disagreeing, and it's my job to blend them together. So what we did in this one is we gave the husband an alder wood bar with LED lighting that lights up the bottles. We gave the wife a modern coffee bar with silhouettes for her Keurigs, and then the husband's a big talker, and we gave him an Alpha Island U-shaped, so it's like you're at Benihana. So you're 8 bar stools around, and you're in the middle, and you're entertaining, all in one room overlooking their backyard that had a creek and a synthetic putting green. So when you walk in the front door, you could look through the kitchen and see the outside. And this was all done because the demand of the client, we listened. Not just me, my designers. I'm only as good as designers. And then collaborating all together, we did that job in 10 weeks because we spent time a lot with the design. I want to come back actually for a little bit and drill down into some details on that kitchen and other kitchens. We're going to take a break. We're here with Rocco Sinisgalli of Oneida Builders. We'll be back to talk more about some of the fantastic spaces and upgrades that Rocco has helped homeowners achieve right after this break.
45 years of experience is behind the most trusted name in auto transportation. Passport Transport, the first and finest today. That's why Passport Transport is the preferred auto transport for major auto manufacturers, concours, museums, tours, and collectors, and should be your choice from across the state to across the country. When you have the need, go to PassportTransport.com and enjoy the peace of mind referenced experience will give you. Passport Transport.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Have you ever wondered what doctors talk about amongst themselves? If you do, join us on the Doctor's Lounge and hear the doctors' conversations amongst themselves. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Schertz, every Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the americasbroadcastnetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
But not have to deal with the big box stores.
Welcome back to the Business Hour. I'm Ron Comacho, your host. We're here with Rocco Sinisgalli, and we were talking about the range of options that a customer can have to upgrade their home, and we were focusing on the kitchen, one kitchen in particular. It was a kitchen which incorporated a piano bar, and so we were spending some time because this particular kitchen is a kitchen on steroids, if you will, but something which Rocco helped his customers achieve in a house that wasn't a $3, $4, $5 million house. It's what you might expect, but he helped them achieve this very upgraded, totally functional, very aesthetic, with these elements that included the bar, the coffee bar,
Yep.
the grand piano itself, a U-shaped island where
Alpha Island,
an Alpha Island,
Alpha
where you can
Island.
hold court in your kitchen,
Yep.
which many people do. I want to ask if you're getting requests for coffee bars, like a section which is dedicated to the making of coffee. I know that we have the espresso machine and the and the Keurig machine and a Nespresso machine, and I sometimes like to do drip, and so we need a coffee section, a coffee bar. Are you getting more requests for that?
Yes, and certain appliances can you can put a Miele coffee machine in there, and it has a price to it. But if you just have a Keurig and you like tea, we can come up with that. So and to get to your other point about this wasn't a $3 or $4 million house. Getting what you want doesn't always necessarily mean it's unaffordable. It just has to be cost effective to you. So we listen to what you want, and then we can give you a budget range. And if it's something that you feel comfortable with, then we can move forward. And that's really what it's all about. So you can create a $1 million kitchen for a $1 million home. I mean, in a house that's $600,000.
And totally change the complexion of the house. People talk about walking into homes and how an open concept totally changes a house that has formerly gotten compartmentalized spaces. But when you open it up and create a kitchen like the one we were talking about, that really changes the character distinctly. And it doesn't have to be like the one we're talking about with the baby grand piano in the kitchen. In fact, you have a concept called the 4-week kitchen. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So what we did is, since we were kind of, the average kitchen range costs, and I'll be frank, was from some $70,000 to $120,000, and that's a full renovation. We says with the demand of other people, how can we be of service to give the quality, the white glove service at a kitchen from 40 to 60? along with financing. So we came up with the 4-week kitchen. And we have only so many door choices for cabinets and countertops. Some people just don't want or can't afford the big stuff. So competing with the big box stores, we come out to your house with a designer, some selections, and within an hour, we've worked up a small design and a price.
You know, I can't help but imagine there are some customers who really, really, really appreciate not having an infinite number of options.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
yeah, so you've done a service by limiting the number of options.
Yes.
And I would imagine that if someone says, but could I have this, you can
accommodate.
All of a sudden
sure.
it becomes a 5-week kitchen.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. But, what's great about that is I get so much satisfaction out of serving and doing a good job versus a price tag. Whether you're doing a $60,000 kitchen or a $150,000 kitchen, it's the same service. It's the same trades. It's the same electricians. It's the same management. So, and with financing, especially for younger generation that don't have the cash available, what a better way to improve their lifestyle, invest in their home, and be done in 4 weeks. And we just we have on the website the 4-week kitchen video. We just did one. We did it in 3.5 weeks, and she didn't want to change the lighting. She was happy with everything. The layout was fine. It was just the cabinets and countertops and backsplash were dated. They didn't have soft close, and it was unaesthetically. It was terrible.
Did it have an island before?
It did have an island.
Okay.
And we actually reused all of her appliances. Disconnected them. The refrigerator reused, the dishwasher, the cooktop. The only thing we didn't reuse was a disposal. But besides that, Ron, so she had no appliance costs, which in an average kitchen is $20,000 or more just for appliances.
A lot of people have upgraded their appliances over their last few years, and so they don't really need completely new appliances. You mentioned soft close.
Yes.
In one of the videos, you can see an example of this, and I think most listeners might be familiar, but there are probably a lot of people who don't realize there are drawers you can open and close, and
they automatically don't slam or fingers broken. You push them and they close automatically, and that's kind of standard right now. 5 years ago it was an upgrade, and that's what's great about demand. As things become more demanding, the price comes down. There was a time when you said granite, it was $150 a square foot. There's granite now at $40 a square foot, $30 a square foot. And as demand grows for high-end product, the price comes down. And that's what's great about this market, because there is a demand for everything, no matter what price range you're in.
Is it worth talking a little bit about quartz versus granite versus marble, and are you seeing any concrete?
Countertops? and there is so many products, and it's interesting you asked me, and that's what I have my trade partners for, because it's so technical that for me to keep up on the technical part of each product is I can't do it. So I will just tell them, here's what we did. Here's my contact. Call them. And we had one client said, what's the radioactivity of my granite? Yeah, I see the smile on your face. I don't know. I have no idea. But talk to this person and I'll tell you. I can't tell you that because highly educated. And I'm not really a highly smart guy. I'm very street smart and function. So if I don't know, Ron, I'm going to tell you. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people probably appreciate that, Rocco. Sharing with them what you do know and saying, listen, let me defer to my countertop guy to tell you about the radioactive.
Right, yeah, because a touch of a button, you're going to prove me wrong anyways.
Bathrooms. Oh, and by the way, these days you can spend $100,000 on a kitchen.
Sure.
But you try to keep them within a certain range, and unless they have highly customized request. What's the range of a kitchen these days?
A kitchen or bathroom?
A kitchen.
A kitchen, yeah. What I call a kitchen usually leads into the laundry room / mudroom. So, because it's the function of that area. So, average 80 to 120. And if we're just staying in the kitchen with the 4-week kitchen, it's 40 to 60.
I think a lot of people will appreciate hearing that range. Now, switching to bathrooms, we might as well talk about the range, and then we can drill down a little bit. What would be the range for a guest bathroom?
Yeah, guest bathroom, 5x8, 5x9 is right from 16 to 25, and that's a total gut with all brand new stuff. And above average finishes, above average plumbing fixtures. We always do heated floors. Definitely frameless shower doors, the thick glass. And just more big niches, shower seats. And everybody, when you put a seat in, people say, I don't sit on it. And I say the reason is because when they built the seat, they built a 90-degree back. Have you ever sat on a chair that's 90 degrees?
Right.
That chair is about an 8-degree angle. So we build an 8 to 10-degree angle for your seat in your shower. So when you sit on it, you can lean back.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And let's put the body sprayer right by your neck. Or by your thigh. Let's customize it. It doesn't take any more money to sit you down and say, Ron, where do you want the body sprayer to hit?
And not only that, a shower can be as relaxing as a bathtub. I mean, people aren't getting into the bathtub as much. Or you can tell me if I'm wrong. Are you putting in bathtubs?
I would say in the renovation home, where sometimes the bathroom space is limited, 95% of the time the tub comes out. Tub comes out, spa shower will be a much bigger demand than a soaking tub in a remodeling project because space could be limited. Because let's face it, the average person wants to shower, takes more showers than baths. But don't get me wrong, there is a client that still wants that. But spa showers, the showrooms in Atlanta are phenomenal. You better go with your bathing suit because you're going to try out everything. It's unbelievable. It's the most exciting thing to do, to go look at plumbing fixtures with your bathing suit. It's just great. Where else in the country can you do that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and you should, because of all the different options.
Yes.
I know that the general manager here at America's Web Radio, had designed had a shower that was designed and built with multiple heads to be a spa, and also has one of those new tornado body dryers. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
I am not familiar with a body dryer.
You probably hear more about that later.
We do warming drawers in the bathroom for towels.
Oh.
Versus a heated towel bar. We had one client that had their warming drawer from their kitchen, and they didn't use it, so we put it in their bathroom. They use it all the time for their towels.
And so you said 10 to 15 on a guest bathroom? Is that what you said?
No. A hall bath is about 15 to 20. Yeah, and a master bathroom is going to be about 40 to 60.
Or
I mean,
on up. Yeah,
we can do some crazy stuff, but that's the average.
We're going to be taking a break again, and when we come back, I'm going to have you touch on green building, and some of the other things that you do to help customers arrive at a balance between what a husband and a wife would like to see, and some other dimensions of the renovation rebuilding process. We're here with Rocco Sinisgalli of Oneida Builders. We'll be back with Rocco in just a bit.
The disease of addiction is a life-altering challenge, not just for the person suffering its effects, but also for the family and friends who support and love the one caught in its grasp. What should be the course of treatment? Who is the best person to render treatment? And what is the best place to go for the care that is needed? We know that you want answers to these and many more questions. Call 770-696-9862 and speak to a representative of the Atlanta Healing Center. They can tailor a program specifically designed to address the needs of the person suffering with an addiction, or give you guidance as to where that help may be found. Information is the key, and the trained staff at AHC is here to assist. If you wish, you can also get more information on the website located at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Have you ever wondered what doctors talk about amongst themselves? If you do, join us on the Doctor's Lounge and hear the doctors' conversations amongst themselves. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Schertz, every Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's DOCS, the number 4, patientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to the Business Hour. We're here with Rocco Sinisgalli of Oneida Builders, and we've been talking about what goes into making smart investments in renovating, remodeling your home, and it could be focused on the kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, basements, whatever. Are you doing decks still? Are decks popular?
Yeah. My motto, Ron, is a deck in the South needs to have a roof over it. It's too hot, and eventually you might want to make it so it's a hybrid where you can have an HVAC out there, blow cool air on you, and still have an open concept. So the sun, decks, roof, hybrid.
And let's talk about Earthcraft certified homes. You know, you're an Earthcraft certified company. What goes into being Earthcraft certified, and tell us about any other aspects of sustainable design, green design.
More in the renovation field for Earthcraft is a program you have to go through, get educated, pass test, and then if you have a renovation that's Earthcraft, it gets inspected by a third party, and it could be certified Earthcraft. But the biggest thing that I touched on earlier is, we're never going to build as many homes that we have, so there's nothing more green than fixing something that is inefficient and making it more efficient. So when I walk into a house and we talk about kitchens and bathrooms and basements, and let the homeowner talk, first thing I say is, how comfortable you are in your home? And they look at me like puzzled. I don't want to talk about my comfort. So I want to educate them as quick as I can. I'm not trying to sell them anything, but the first thing I say is, masters upstairs, how many thermostats do you have? One thermostat or two? I said, your attic is 120 degrees in the summer, and all of that heat is filtering into the house. And they're like, well, I have attic insulation. I say, well, the attic insulation is fiberglass. Air flows through it, so the heat comes through it. And educate them on foam insulation. There's nothing more energy efficient than putting foam insulation in your attic. Your attic temperature becomes interior space. Your attic temperature goes from 120 to about 75 degrees, and your house is more comfortable. If you wanted cool iced tea, would you put it in a 100-degree oven? No. But people don't realize that their coil that cools their house is in their attic. They think it's outside where the compressor is. No. So the engineering, besides taking that cool coil and putting in a 120-degree attic, is wrong. Education, and that's one of the most energy efficient things you can do. And I talk about that in the beginning and ask them if they're interested in getting more education.
So heating, cooling, ventilation, insulation, and improving efficiency.
Right.
Does that also include, are you changing out windows for some customers?
Yes. So what we do there is, since windows are highly marketed, okay, when I say insulation, you're probably going to say pink insulation, Pink Panther, because that's what was advertised. You're in the marketing business, right?
Right.
So when you say windows, you say what? Thermopane. Okay? And the most cost-effective thing return on investment is to insulate your attic with foam. But you're never going to know that because no one's marketing it. You're going to say, put new windows in. And new windows at a retail price, Ron, are not a good return on investment. Because your average window replacement retail in a house is $20,000. Your average cost of foam and attic is from $4,000 to $6,000. If you spend $4,000 to $6,000, you're going to get a return on investment in 3 years. So if you were to take that extra money, put it into your mutual fund, you're going to send your kids to college.
Right.
But nobody knows that. It's just not marketed.
So saving money and making an investment, a smart investment in places where it gives you the greatest return, has you acting in the role of an investment advisor.
Yes.
What about entire homes? I know you have a couple under construction.
Yeah, we do build some spec homes, so that means that we're building them on speculation that we're gonna, we pick out the materials and we market them when they're about 70-80% done, and it's more of an investment and also an extension of Oneida. The reason I do it is because we're doing a lot of tear downs, so we're tearing down inefficient buildings because the land is so demanding, and we're putting up energy efficient new homes, and that's challenging because it's highly competitive, and there's a lot of risk. But you know what? It's also enjoyable to do it because you're giving a whole house new, and the new energy codes are just phenomenal with air infiltration and insulation and low E on all the glass. That 10 years ago was an upgrade. Now that's where the efficiency of new home construction with the codes has helped energy efficiency.
Do you think this is a nationwide phenomena, or could North Metro Atlanta or all of Metro Atlanta be a little ahead of the curve on this?
Since they rewrote the energy code, I think in 2012 in Georgia, it's been phenomenal. I don't know what the other states offer, but I do know in Atlanta, and it's inspected and tested. A code is only as good as the inspection, so that's really what helps efficiency in new homes in the metro area.
Now earlier when you were talking about bathrooms, you just casually said that, we'll design a bathroom for you between $15,000 and $25,000 I
Sure.
guess bathroom. And you said the fixtures would be a little nicer than the average fixtures. I get the sense that what might otherwise be an average design and build for another renovations company, your quality is a step above that because you're constantly thinking about what you call practical combined with luxury.
Yeah.
Tell us
yeah.
about practical combined with luxury.
Yeah.
Are you always looking for that factor that would be just slightly more upgraded?
Yeah, and it's just like the shower seat. It doesn't cost me any more money to put a 8-degree angle on your shower seat. And the other thing is because consumers are so educated, they know what type of spa shower body spray they want because they've done the research. And a lot of times, we'll allow the homeowner to purchase their own fixtures, so we don't have to mark them up. And we get, if we're trying to be cost effective and valued engineering, I would rather have you buy your own fixtures than I don't have to put a markup on it and let me install them. Saves you money, saves me time, and everybody's happy. So there's no reason I have to supply everything if you're a savvy homeowner and want to do a little due diligence. What you put into it is what you get out of it. So valued engineering, allowing the customers to purchase some of their own materials, and allow that savings to be carried on to them.
I'm going to ask you a little bit of a twist on what we've been talking about, because although we've mentioned the programs on TV, the Love It or List It, but Are Chip and Joanna Gaines making life more difficult for a lot of home builders, renovators, remodelers, because they do beautiful work, but particularly if you see a show from like 2014 from Waco, Texas, where the cost might be lower to do a total renovation, and you hear the numbers and you see the numbers. They'll put the numbers up on the screen, and they're sometimes, I would think, way off the reality for another marketplace. Now, we're in Atlanta. Talk about the New York metro area, the San Francisco metro area, LA, Chicago. You got to be off the charts there. And so those guys must be having a lot of heartache when they see the Waco, Texas, $60,000 for the entire house, including some exterior aspects.
Well, that's, I mean, the show is there to be entertaining. Okay, so, and it is. And I'm not here to talk bad about anything.
No, I don't mean. Actually, I think they do a beautiful work. I'm just saying that that marketplace. And particularly if it's years ago. Those numbers are outdated.
Yes, and the great thing about the shows is that they do a lot of interesting stuff, and it creates buzz. And we were actually the 2018 National Award winners last year. And we actually beat them out. They actually entered the award, and we ended up beating them out.
Well, that's really quite an achievement.
But yes, the shows are fantastic, but they are entertaining. And I mean, you can Google anything on what things cost, and it's all going to be demand driven and what area you're in. And even in Metro Atlanta, if you go up to Dahlonega, the cost of doing business in Dahlonega, Georgia, is going to be different from downtown Metro Atlanta.
Right.
So do your education, and that old saying is you get what you pay for.
Well, I find it amusing, and you must find it somewhat amusing when, like on a program, the Love It or Listed, when they're going through the list of what one of the two husband and wife teams or couple teams, and the person who wants to stay in the home is giving you this long laundry list of things that they want to have done, and with an unreasonable expectation of a budget. You've got to find that really amusing.
Yeah, it is. And I watch all the shows. I was actually a contractor on a show called The Elbow Room here in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So I got to see behind the scenes. So I wanted to come up with a show that was a little bit different, but yes, there's can be unrealistic expectations, and they need to make it entertaining.
Yeah, well, I can see you in that role, and I could see you on a program, and there could be a program in your future.
Sure.
Because you're very diplomatic and trying to explain to people that they're having unrealistic expectations without having to say that.
Sure.
But Rocco, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on to the Business Hour.
Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
You've been really good, and you've been listening to the Business Hour here on America's Web Radio. We're on from 10 to 11 a.m. on Fridays. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the radio and the internet next week.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Steve Ronaldo, host